Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Geno Reynolds and this is WAND Presents The Real Geno. Today we're going to head back to the world of robots that can turn into things as we take a look at Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. So, let's do this.
Prime. This is about the fate of all living things. Unicron is coming.
How big can this guy be?
He eats planets. So, like, way bigger than a planet.
Let them come.
Taking place in 1994, about 7 years after Bumblebee, the Autobots are in hiding on Earth. When an artifact of great power is discovered on Earth, this leads the planet-eating monstrosity known as Unicron to their location. It's up to the Autobots and some human allies to stop Unicron from gaining access to Earth and destroying it. After the movies that were the Michael Bay films and the thankfully soft rebooted Bumblebee, things were looking pretty good for the Transformers, finally. While I was excited for the future, I was also afraid of it. When I heard they were going to use both the Beast Wars robots as well as Unicron, I then was afraid that Paramount was going to move too fast like DC did with the Justice League movies. So, did they? Thankfully, no. No, it didn't. That being said, was it a good sequel to Bumblebee is the real question. The answer to that is a little bit yes and a little bit no. While thankfully it was in the end a pretty entertaining movie, it lacked a lot of the heart that Bumblebee had. That's not for the lack of trying. While a lot of Autobots want to trust the humans, more of that in a bit, Optimus Prime is very reluctant to put his faith in them. While all of this was fine and Peter Cullen does his best with his amazing voice to make it work, it just didn't hit with the same weight that Bumblebee's relationship with Charlie did. Here's the thing though, for the most part, the movie is still a lot of fun. Maybe I'm just getting soft about what these movies should be in my old age or I'm growing up a little bit, but I found myself being a bit more forgiving this time around. Maybe I just wanted this one to be fun despite being overly simplistic and plot convenient at times. I thought about it after seeing the movie and came to the conclusion that I wasn't growing up per se, but that while watching it, I wanted to feel like that kid again. The one that made up his own stories with the toys or cried in the theaters for the first time when Optimus Prime died in the animated movie. That was it. Watching this, I just wanted to feel like a kid again, and I did. Now, back to being professional, I guess. What worked for the movie for me was the new partnership between Mirage and Noah Diaz. I thought that Anthony Ramos as Noah and Pete Davidson, well, Pete Davidson's voice anyway, as Mirage made a pretty fun team. They were a lot like Charlie and Bumblebee were in the last movie. I have to say that it's a good thing they worked well together because you're probably going to be seeing them together a lot more in the future. Noah, very conveniently, has a military background, so when the fighting starts in this one, he's cool under pressure and steps up when the time is right. Davidson plays Mirage exactly how you would expect Davidson to play the part. He's snarky and sarcastic, but you can tell deep down that when something is important to him, he'll do anything to protect it. Our villain this time around is Scourge, played by Peter Dinklage. Don't get me wrong, I really like this character and he, at times, felt like a genuine threat to our heroes. There was more than a few times he handed the Autobots their bumpers, but in the end, how do I put this? To take a quote from Across the Spider-Verse, in the end, he felt like a villain of the week. I don't think it will happen, but I'd love to see more of Dinklage's character in the future. Let's just hope he's made of sterner stuff. As for the Maximals, for the most part, they were pretty great as well. The Maximals were all pretty cool in this. While a few of them never really got to stand out, two of them did, and those two weren't a surprise. First was Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal, the leader of the Maximals. What is there more to say? Ron Perlman is Ron Perlman, and he's awesome. Michelle Yeoh voices Airazor as the mentor-type character in a way that she is well known for, both stoic and kind at the same time. Getting to see some of the other Autobots again is always cool too. RC has been one of my favorite Transformers ever since the animated 80s movie, so finally getting to see her stand out a bit was great for me. Bumblebee definitely gets a bit of the short end of the stick this time around. He takes a main character back seat to both Prime and Mirage. And come on, the gimmick, the voice box thing, it needs to go away. The one Autobot I was really disappointed in was Wheeljack. No, not that one. Not that one either. You see, even though Wheeljack was shown in the Bumblebee movie, They completely changed him in this for a terrible joke that didn't land. That was about it. As a fan, I could go on and on about this movie, but we'll leave it at this. As a fan, as a kid that was a fan, this movie was what I wanted and needed it to be. While this isn't a perfect movie, it's still pretty fun. Unlike the Bay Transformers movies, this one isn't an insult to the source material. Most of the characters are likable, the action is really well done, the effects are great, and the story, while overly simplistic, was entertaining. Oh, and the soundtrack is dope as well. Wu-Tang Clan, Black Sheep, LL Cool J, Biggie Smalls, and more make this movie scream the 90s. As for the future of the franchise, that looks bright as well. While I'm not going to spoil the mid-credit scene, I will say that things are about to, at the very least, get interesting. I told my son before the movie started what I thought the scene would be. I don't think he believed me, but then it 100% happened, much to my youthful joy. If you want to see Transformers Rise of the Beast, you can check it out in theaters right now. Make sure to follow me at WANDTV.com as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Real Geno. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, also at The Real Geno. That's going to be it for this edition of WAND Presents The Real Geno. As always, I am your host, The Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. Until next time, transform and roll out. How do you do this? I used to be a lot better at this.
1,984 days later.
Ha! See? Didn't take me very long, did it? Now, how do I change it back?